Why does winning feel so hard? Why does it feel like you're swimming upstream, fighting the current, while others seem to just glide by? Let me ask you this. Why do you remember the one insult you received last week, but you've already forgotten the 5 compliments you got yesterday? Why does one piece of bad news, a dip in the market, a critical email, a project delay, have the power to hijack your entire day? And let's be honest, why do you spend so much time fixating on your one failure, your one flaw, your one area for improvement when you are surrounded by a sea of your own successes? Is it because you're broken? Is it because you're just a negative person? Is it because you lack discipline or willpower or some magic ingredient that winners are just born with? No. The reason it feels so hard is because you are running default code. You have an operating system running between your ears right now that was programmed for a world that no longer exists. It's an ancient, brilliant, and deeply paranoid piece of software. And its one single overriding objective is not to make you happy. It is not to make you successful. It is not to help you thrive or build an empire or find fulfillment. Its one and only goal is to keep you alive. Welcome to your default code. It's the code of survival, but it is not the code of success. And in this chapter, we are going to run a full diagnostic, because you cannot overwrite a single line of code until you first see it running. This book is called The Code of the Winner's Mindset, and a winner isn't someone who never fails. A winner is simply someone who has learned to stop running the default code. They have learned to see their internal programming and consciously, deliberately write a new set of commands. They have learned to recode their mind. And you can too. Let's get to work. So, what is this default code I'm talking about? Let's give it its proper name. In neuroscience, it's known as the negativity bias. That sounds simple, but I want you to understand what it is. It is not a personality flaw. It's not a weakness. It is the single most successful evolutionary adaptation in the history of human consciousness. It is the reason you are here. Think about your ancestors, tens of thousands of years ago on the savannah. Imagine 2 of them walking. One of them is a winner by our modern standards. He's an optimist, he's focusing on his goals, he's visualizing success. He's admiring the beautiful sunset, the 10 delicious berry bushes, the lovely sound of the wind. The other one is a worrier. He's running the default code. He's jumpy, he's paranoid. He also sees the 10 berry bushes, but he's fixated on the one patch of rustling grass over by the rocks. He's thinking about the one shadow that looks slightly out of place. He's running what-if scenarios. What if that's a saber-toothed tiger? What if that's an enemy tribe? What if this is a trap? Now, which one of those 2 ancestors passed their genes down to you? It was the worrier. The optimist got eaten. Your brain, my brain, every human brain on this planet is the direct descendant of the most anxious, paranoid, and threat-obsessed survivors. We are programmed at a hardware level to be brilliant at spotting the one bad thing. Our minds are like Velcro for negative experiences and Teflon for positive ones. The negativity bias is your brain's ancient subroutine for safety. Its job is to magnify threats, fixate on problems, and over-index on failures. Why? Because in the ancient world, a missed opportunity, like not picking those berries, meant you went hungry for a night. But a missed threat, not spotting that tiger, meant you got eaten. The cost of a false positive, thinking there's a threat when there isn't, was just a little bit of stress. The cost of a false negative, thinking there's no threat when there is, was everything. So your brain, this brilliant survival machine, developed a simple command. When in doubt, assume the worst. Fixate on the threat. Worry about it. Run it on a loop. Do not let it go. This code was a masterpiece. It kept us alive for millennia. But here's the problem. You're not on the savannah anymore. You're running that ancient, paranoid saber-tooth detecting software in the modern world. You're trying to navigate a complex career, build loving relationships, and pursue ambitious goals using code that was designed to just not die before sundown. The threats are no longer saber-toothed tigers. The threats are now a critical email from your boss, a vague text from your partner, a performance review, a social media post where someone seems to be having a better life than you. Your brain cannot tell the difference. To your ancient default-coded brain, that critical email is the saber-toothed tiger. That performance review is a life-or-death threat to your status in the tribe. And so it triggers the exact same code. It magnifies the threat. It fixates on the problem. It erases the 10 good things and spotlights the one bad thing. This isn't your fault. This is your programming. You're not broken. You are simply running the default code in an environment it was never designed for. And that mismatch, that conflict between your ancient survival code and your modern desire for success is the source of almost all your anxiety, your self-doubt, and your frustration. Let's make this real. I want you to think about your last performance review. Maybe it was last week or last year. You walk into the meeting. Your stomach is in knots. Why? Your brain is already scanning for threats. Your default code is running. This is a judgment. My place in the tribe is at risk. Your manager starts. She tells you that you are a valued member of the team. She praises your work on the big project. She highlights your reliability, your creativity, and your positive attitude. You've received nine pieces of genuinely positive, wonderful feedback. You feel a momentary glow, but then, she says, "Now, there is one area for improvement I'd like to discuss for the next quarter. I've noticed that sometimes in the all-hands meetings, you could be a bit more assertive in presenting your data." Click. The default code just activated. The saber-toothed tiger just walked into the room. What happens in your brain? The 9 positives vanish. They turn to smoke. They slide right off that Teflon coating. And that one area for improvement, that one criticism, it's not just Velcro, it's superglue, it's a grappling hook. Your manager keeps talking, but you're not listening anymore. All you can hear is a loop. I'm not assertive. I'm failing. She thinks I'm weak. Everyone else is assertive. I'm going to lose my job. I'm an imposter. I'm not good enough. You walk out of that meeting. Your spouse asks you, "How did your review go?" What do you say? If you're running the default code, you say, "It was terrible. She told me I'm not assertive enough." You see? The 9 positives weren't just forgotten. They were factually erased from your reality. Your reality in that moment became the one negative. You spend all night fixating on it. You lie awake, replaying every meeting you've ever been in. You scan your memory for more evidence that you are not assertive. Your brain is now helping you, digging through your files to prove this new threat is real. You wake up exhausted, demoralized, and convinced of your own failure. That is the negativity bias. That is your default code in action. It is a bug in the system. It took a piece of constructive data, a single data point, and magnified it into a verdict on your identity. This is the code that is holding you back. It's the code that makes you afraid to take risks. Why? Because the potential pain of failure, a threat, feels 100 times stronger in your brain than the potential pleasure of success, an opportunity. Your brain is literally, chemically weighted against you. It's the code that fuels your imposter syndrome. You have a mountain of evidence of your competence, your successes, your achievements. But your default code forces your eyes away from that mountain and makes you fixate on the tiny, single pebble of doubt. It makes you feel like a fraud, even when you are objectively succeeding. It's the code that makes you ruminate. It's that voice that replays your mistakes, your embarrassing moments, your cringe memories, over and over again. That's your brain's subroutine running. This was a threat. This was a social misstep. Don't you ever forget this, or you might be exiled from the tribe. Let's play it again and again and again, just to make sure you feel the full, agonizing shame of it. This code is exhausting. It's burning your energy, it's draining your willpower, and it is silently sabotaging your every attempt to move forward. You cannot win if you are spending 90% of your mental and emotional energy fighting a phantom tiger in your own mind. You cannot build a future if your brain is chained to every mistake from your past. So, what do we do? The first and most important step is what you are doing right this second. You are seeing the code. You are bringing the unconscious into the conscious. You are shining a light on this ancient hidden subroutine that has been running your life from the shadows. Here is the single most powerful truth I can give you, the truth upon which this entire book is built. You are not your brain. You are the observer of your brain. You are not the code. You are the programmer. Until this moment, you were trapped in the machine. You thought that voice of doubt, that surge of anxiety, that fixation on the negative. You thought that was you. You thought it was just who I am. But it's not. It's just the default code. It's the survival program. And the moment you can see it, the moment you can name it, you are no longer it. The next time you're in that situation, you get that email, you have that critical thought, you start to fixate on that one negative, you now have a new power. You can stop. And you can say, there it is. That's the default code. That's the negativity bias. My brain is spotting a saber-toothed tiger. It thinks it's helping me survive. Just by naming it, you create a tiny, powerful space between you and the program. You have stepped outside the machine. You've just put your hands on the keyboard. This chapter is the diagnostic. We have identified the primary bug in your system. It's the survival over success code. Now, let's be very clear. We are not going to try and delete this code. You can't. It's hardwired, and frankly, you don't want to. That negativity bias is what stops you from stepping out into traffic. It's what makes you double-check your work before a big presentation. It's a useful tool when it's in its proper place. The problem is that it's out of control. It's running the whole show. The winner's code is not about ignoring the negative. It's not about toxic positivity or pretending problems don't exist. That's just bad code on the other extreme. The winner's code is about rebalancing the equation. It's about writing new, powerful subroutines that you can choose to run. It's about building a new set of commands that allow you to see the 9 positives as well as the 1 negative. It's about learning to control your attention, your mind's spotlight, and point it where you choose, not where your ancient, default programming demands. In the chapters to come, I am going to give you the specific, actionable command lines, the techniques, the mental shifts, the biological hacks to start writing this new code. We are going to start with the biggest lie your default code tells you, the myth that your abilities are fixed. We are going to dismantle the lie of talent and replace it with the single most powerful law of your brain. We're going to explore a force that is more powerful than your default code, a force that has been scientifically proven to physically rewire the structure of your brain, to carve new pathways, and to build a mind that is designed for success. We are going to move from diagnosing the default code to installing the winner's code. But for now, your only job is this: observe. For the next day, just watch. Watch your mind. Watch it fixate on the negative. Watch it magnify threats. Watch it run that ancient paranoid survival code. But this time, don't be it. Just watch it. And every time you catch it, every time you see that subroutine run, just smile. Put your hand on the keyboard and say, I see you, but I'm in charge now. The diagnostic is complete. The recoding is about to begin. Let me ask you a question. Do you believe that some people are just born with it? You know what I mean. The natural athlete who just seems to move with a grace you couldn't learn in a million years. The gifted artist or musician who plays an instrument as if it were an extension of their own body. The born leader, the natural public speaker, the genius entrepreneur who just sees opportunities you don't. We love these stories. We worship at the altar of talent. We look at these people and we think, They won the lottery. They were just gifted. And in doing so, we give ourselves the ultimate out. Because if they were born with it, it means you weren't. If success is a lottery ticket and you weren't born holding it, well, why bother even playing the game? Why should you struggle and sweat and try when the deck is already stacked? This belief, this myth of natural talent, is the single most disempowering, demotivating, and destructive piece of junk code that our society has ever installed in your operating system. It's a virus that whispers, "Don't bother, you don't have the gift." And this virus is the reason why most people live their entire lives as spectators, admiring the winners on the field, while they stay rooted in the stands, never once realizing that the only thing stopping them from getting in the game is their own belief that they can't. In Chapter 1, we identified your default code, the negativity bias that wires you for survival. Now we have to decompile this second piece of junk code, the talent lie, because this lie thrives on one thing: your complete ignorance of the single most powerful, radical, and empowering law of your own biology. It's called neuroplasticity. And understanding this one single concept will be like shifting your entire mind from a fixed, unchangeable piece of hardware to an infinitely adaptable, reprogrammable piece of software. For centuries, we believed the brain was like a concrete sidewalk. By the time you were an adult, the concrete was set. You were who you were. Your specs were locked in. You had a certain amount of intelligence, a certain amount of talent, a certain personality, and that was that. This was the fixed hardware model. This model is wrong, utterly, completely, and dangerously wrong. The truth is that your brain is not a concrete sidewalk. It is a vast, dynamic, and living network. It's less like a printed circuit board and more like a trillion tiny jungle paths that can be rerouted, widened, or grown over at any time. Neuroplasticity is the term. Neuro refers to the neurons, the nerve cells in your brain. Plasticity means changeable, moldable, adaptable. Your brain physically changes its own structure, its own wiring, and its own function based on one thing: what you do with it. It's that simple. Your thoughts, your actions, your habits, and your focus are the programmers that are constantly rewriting your brain's code and rewiring its hardware. Let me give you a new metaphor. Forget the saber-toothed tiger for a moment. I want you to picture that public speaking skill we just talked about. Inside your brain, there is a public speaking network. It's a vast collection of neurons responsible for language, memory, confidence, and social awareness. The very first time you ever tried to speak in public, maybe as a child, your brain had to send a signal through that network. It was like trying to hack your way through a dense, tangled, overgrown jungle. There was no path. The signal was slow, weak, and inefficient. It was terrifying. You stammered, you sweated, you forgot your words. This is the experience of struggle. Now, if you're running the talent lie junk code, you have that experience and you conclude, "I'm not a natural public speaker. I should never do that again." And what happens? You don't do it again. And that jungle path? It grows over. The vines get thicker. The trees grow back. The next time you're forced to do it, 10 years later, the jungle is even denser. The struggle is even worse. And your brain says, "See, I told you, you're hopeless at this. You have programmed your own failure." But what if you had a different code? What if, after that first terrible experience, you were forced to do it again the very next day? You'd have to hack your way through that jungle again, but this time it would be fractionally easier. You'd be walking, quite literally, in the faint footsteps you left behind. What if you did it every day for a month? By day 5, you'd have a little footpath. By day 10, you'd have a clear trail. By day 30, you'd have a wide, clear dirt road. What if you did it for 10 years? You wouldn't have a road anymore. You would have a 6-lane, paved, illuminated superhighway. The signal for public speaking would travel down that pathway at lightning speed with zero resistance. It would feel easy, effortless, automatic. And at that point, some spectator in the audience would look up at you and whisper to their friend, "Wow, she's such a natural." Talent is not a gift. Talent is a result. Talent is just a word we use to describe a well-worn neural pathway. Winners are not born with the superhighways. They are simply the people who understood, consciously or unconsciously, that they had to build them. They embraced the struggle of hacking through the jungle while everyone else gave up and went home. Let's run the scenario. You are at your company's annual conference. You're in the audience. Your colleague, let's call her Sarah, walks on stage to give the keynote. She is flawless. She's confident, she's charismatic, she's funny, she commands the room. She's not even using notes. She's a natural. Now, let's watch your default code run. The talent lie junk code activates immediately. The thought appears, "I could never, ever do that." I want you to understand right now that this thought is not a harmless, neutral observation. It is a biological command. The moment you think, "I could never do that," you are issuing a direct order to your prefrontal cortex. The order is abort construction. You are telling your brain, do not bother trying to build that pathway. That jungle is impassable. It's impossible. Do not waste the energy. And your brain, which is an obedient servant and hates wasting energy, listens to you. It shuts down the construction crew. It stops allocating resources to that public speaking pathway. The path grows over. Then the vicious cycle compounds. The next week, your manager says, "Hey, would you like to present your findings at the next team meeting?" Your default code screams. Your brain knows that pathway is an overgrown, terrifying jungle. It triggers an anxiety response, a threat alert, to stop you from the danger of that struggle. So you say, "Oh, I think I'll pass." You just proved your own junk code right. Your belief, "I can't," created the behavior of "I won't," which reinforced the reality that you don't. That is how the talent lie keeps you a prisoner. But what if you had the winner's code installed? What if you understood neuroplasticity? You're in that same audience, you watch Sarah crush the keynote, and instead of, "I could never do that," your new code runs. Your new thought is, "Wow, her public speaking neural highway is incredible. It's magnificent. Mine is just a jungle path right now. I need to start building." Do you feel the difference? The first thought, "I can't," is a verdict. It's a stop sign. It's a command for inaction. The second thought, "Mine is under construction," is a diagnosis. It's a map. It's a command to begin. This shift in your internal dialogue, this one change in your code, is the foundation of what Stanford researcher Dr. Carol Dweck calls the growth mindset. The fixed mindset, the default code, believes your abilities are static. I am what I am. It's the hardware model. This mindset fears struggle because it believes that struggle is proof of your lack of talent. If you were a natural, it would be easy. So if it's hard, you must be a fraud. The growth mindset, the winner's code, believes your abilities are malleable. I can learn what I need to learn. This is the neuroplastic software model. This mindset welcomes struggle because it understands that struggle is the construction process. So how do you build the highway? How do you actually write this new code? The keyboard, the tool you use to write the code of neuroplasticity, is intentional, focused effort. I want to add one more layer of science here because this is so critical. When you struggle, when you force your brain to fire those new, weak, inefficient jungle pathways, you are doing more than just clearing a path. You are triggering a biological upgrade. The act of struggling sends a chemical signal to your brain. It's a work order. It says, "Hey, this circuit here, this public speaking circuit, we're using it, and it's terrible. It's slow and it's leaking energy. We need to upgrade it." In response to this struggle signal, your brain dispatches special cells to insulate that new pathway. They wrap that wire in a fatty biological sheath called myelin. This process is called myelination. Myelin is like the rubber insulation on a copper wire. It stops the signal from leaking out and makes it travel faster and stronger. The more you struggle with a new skill, the more you trigger this myelination process. The more myelin you build, the faster and more automatic the skill becomes. Let's say that again so it sinks in. Struggle is not a sign of failure. Struggle is the biological act of building. Talent is not a gift. Talent is just a heavily myelinated neural pathway. The default code, fixed mindset, tells you this is hard. You must not be a natural. Stop now to protect your ego. The winner's code, growth mindset, tells you this is hard. Good. The myelination process has begun. Keep going. This changes everything. It turns effort from a liability into the entire point. It turns you from a passive victim of your hardware into an active programmer of your software. You are not a lottery ticket. You are the machine that prints the tickets. So here is your new code, your first active command line. You must, from this moment on, banish the talent excuse from your vocabulary. You must delete that junk code. The next time you see someone doing something you admire, your old code will say, "I wish I had their talent." You will catch it, and you will overwrite it. Your new active code is, "I admire the result of their process." And the next time you try something new, you try to learn that instrument, or make that sales call, or speak up in that meeting, and it feels hard and awkward and you struggle, your old code will scream, "See, you're terrible at this. Just quit." You will catch it. You will name it. That's the talent lie. That's the fixed mindset. That's junk code. And you will overwrite it with the biological truth. You will tell yourself, this struggle is not failure. This is construction. This is myelination. I am building the highway. This is the code. In the last chapter, we diagnosed the default survival code. Today, we decompiled the talent lie and installed the foundational law of the winner's mindset, the truth of neuroplasticity. We now know that we can write new code. But how exactly? That default code is loud. That negative voice from Chapter 1 is still running, telling you you're a fraud, telling you you're not good enough, telling you not to even try to build the path. To win, we must seize the control panel. We have to master the very voice that programs your reality. In our next chapter, we are going to grab the command line itself. We are going to learn how to debug, rewrite, and master your internal dialogue. What if your biggest enemy isn't your competition? What if it's not your boss, or your economy, or your bad luck? What if your single greatest, most persistent, and most destructive enemy is the voice between your own ears? That narrator, that critic, that judge. The one that's commenting on your life, play by play. The one that's whispering, "You're not good enough. You're going to fail. They're all going to find out you're a fraud. You're too tired, too late, too stupid, too much." You know that voice. We all know that voice. In Chapter 1, we identified this voice as part of your default code, the negativity bias designed for survival. In Chapter 2, we proved that you can physically change your brain, your software, by understanding neuroplasticity. But now we get to the real work. Now we grab the keyboard. Because those negative thoughts, they aren't just harmless passive reflections of your reality. They are active commands. They are malware. In cognitive psychology, they're called ANTs, automatic negative thoughts. And I want you to think of them quite literally as malware. They are tiny, malicious subroutines that run in the background of your operating system constantly. You don't even notice them, but they are silently corrupting every other program you run. They drain your resources, they slow your processing speed, and they cause the system to crash. Your ants, your internal dialogue, are the single most powerful programming language you have. The problem is, you've been letting the malware write the code. Today, that ends. Today, you learn to debug your own mind. You learn to seize the first command line and master your internal dialogue. Because if you don't control your thoughts, I promise you, your thoughts will always control you. To understand why these ants are so powerful, you need to understand one of the most brilliant and dangerous pieces of hardware in your brain. It's called the reticular activating system, or the RAS. Don't worry about the name. Here's what it does. Your brain, right now, is being flooded with information. Billions with a B, billions of bits of data every single second. The sight of the room around you, the feeling of the air on your skin, the sound of my voice, the memory of what you ate for breakfast, the 10,000 things you need to do. If you had to consciously process all of that, your mind would shatter in an instant. So, your brain built a filter, a bouncer, a security guard at the velvet rope of your conscious mind. That guard is the RAS. The RAS has one simple job: to filter that flood of data and only show you the tiny fraction that is relevant to you. It's your brain's personalized search engine. It's your own internal Google. But here's the critical, life-changing question. How does it know what's relevant? How does it decide what to show you and what to filter out? The answer? You program it. You program it with your focus, your beliefs, and most of all, with your internal dialogue. Those ants, those automatic negative thoughts, they aren't just thoughts. They are search terms. They are programming commands for your RAS. When you wake up and your first thought is, "This day is going to be a disaster," you haven't just had a negative thought. You have just typed a command into your brain's search engine. You have instructed your RAS, "Go find me evidence of disaster. Make that relevant." Your RAS, which is an obedient servant, simply says, "Command received," and it immediately begins to filter your reality to match that command. It will point out every red light. It will highlight the spilled coffee. It will magnify your boss's critical tone. It deletes the good news. It filters out the compliments. It ignores the lucky breaks. Your RAS does not care what is true. It only cares about what you told it to find. This is the biological mechanism of the self-fulfilling prophecy. This isn't magic. This isn't manifestation in some mystical, abstract sense. This is neuroscience. Your internal dialogue programs the filter through which you perceive your world. And if your filter is programmed for disaster, failure, and "I'm not good enough," that is the only reality your brain will allow you to see. You don't just get what you think about. You see, hear, and experience what you think about. Your thoughts aren't just commenting on your reality. They are actively creating it. And you've been letting that malware run the search engine for your entire life. Let's run a scenario. Let's watch this malicious code execute in real time. It's Tuesday morning. The alarm clock goes off at 7 a.m., but you hit snooze. And then you hit it again and again. You finally jolt awake, and it's 7:45 a.m. You were supposed to leave at 7:30. You are late. This is the event. It's a neutral fact. But instantly, the malware, the ant, attacks. The thought isn't, "I am late." The thought is, "I'm a mess." Click. The malware just activated. You jump out of bed. The next ant fires. "I'm so disorganized. I can't get anything right." Click. Another line of malicious code. You grab your clothes. The final, fatal command. "This is typical. Today is going to be a total disaster." Beep. The programming is complete. Your reticular activating system, your RAS, has its marching orders for the day. Its primary search terms are mess, disorganized, can't get right, disaster. Now, watch what happens. You run to the kitchen. Your RAS, now filtering your reality, immediately spots the one dish you left in the sink last night. It doesn't show you the clean counter. It doesn't show you the sunlight. It shows you the one dish. And your internal voice says, "See? Mess. So disorganized." You pour coffee. A single drop splashes onto the counter. Your RAS magnifies it. It's all you can see. See, I can't get anything right. I'm so clumsy. Disaster. You get in the car. You hit a red light. Your RAS lights it up in your conscious mind. Proof. The world is against me. This day is a disaster. Another car cuts you off. Proof. Everyone is an idiot. This is awful. Here's the kicker. You don't even notice the 6 green lights you just sailed through. You don't notice the song you like on the radio. You don't notice that you didn't hit traffic. Your RAS, under the command Find Disaster, filtered all of that positive data out. It was irrelevant to the search query. You get to the office. You're stressed, angry, and defeated. You snap at a colleague. You miss a key detail in an email. By 10 a.m., you are living the reality of a disaster. But did the world make your day a disaster? Or did you? The event was just being late. The code you ran on that event is what created the disaster. That is the power of an unchecked ant. It's a piece of code that writes your reality and then proves itself right over and over again in a perfect, closed, destructive loop. So how do we stop it? How do we debug this? You cannot fight a program you cannot see. You cannot stop a thought you don't hear. The first step in writing the winner's code is awareness. You must activate your internal antivirus software. The second step is to run a debugging protocol. The winner's code for mastering your internal dialogue is a simple 3-step command line that you must learn to run instantly every time you detect a piece of malware. The protocol is catch, challenge, change. Let's break down those commands. 1. Catch the thought. This is the hardest part. It's what we practiced at the end of Chapter 1. It is the act of observing your own mind. You must hear the ant as it fires. You must go from being the thought, I am a mess, to noticing the thought, aha, I just had the thought, I am a mess. This is the malware alert. Ding! An automatic negative thought has been detected. The moment you catch it, you have separated you, the programmer, from it, the program. You've just paused the execution. 2. Challenge the thought. Now that the program is paused, you must interrogate it. You must debug it. Ants thrive in the dark. They hate the light of logic. You must hit it with questions, hard questions. The thought is, I'm a disaster. The challenge is that true? Is it 100% empirically true that my entire existence is a disaster? Or is it more true that I am just late? The thought is, I can't get anything right. The challenge is that true? Anything? I'm breathing, aren't I? I got dressed, didn't I? I'm in my car. I've gotten thousands of things right today. This thought is not a fact. It is a feeling. It is an exaggeration. It is junk code. You are not arguing with the thought. You are dismantling it. You are exposing it as an illogical, badly written piece of code. You are breaking its emotional power. 3. Change the thought. This is the final critical step. You cannot just delete the bad code. Your brain hates a vacuum. You must replace it with a new line of code. This is your new command for your RAS. But here's the key. The change cannot be inauthentic. If you're late and you try to tell yourself, I am a perfect, punctual superhuman, your brain will reject it. It knows you're lying. The change must be true, credible, and constructive. It's not positive thinking, it's powerful thinking. Let's see the new code. Old code, and I'm such a mess. Today is a disaster. New code, change. I'm running late. That is a fact. It's a problem, not an identity. I am capable and focused. I will handle this. My new command for the day is find solutions and be efficient. Now, let's rerun that entire morning, but with the winner's code installed. It's Tuesday, 7:45 a.m. You're late. The ant fires. I'm such a mess. 1. Catch. Whoa, there it is. That's the disaster program. I see it. 2. Challenge. Is that true? Am I a mess? No, I'm a competent person who overslept. Is the day a disaster? No, it's 7:45 a.m. The day hasn't even started. That thought is illogical. 3. Change. Okay, I am late, I don't like it, but I can handle it. I am efficient and solution-focused. What is the first, most important thing I need to do right now? Beep. The programming is complete. Your reticular activating system has its new orders. The search terms are efficient, solution-focused, handle it. Now watch this reality unfold. You run to the kitchen. Your RAS, filtering for solutions, immediately spots the dish in the sink. Your thought is, I'll rinse that in the 30 seconds the coffee is brewing. Efficient. You pour coffee. You spill a drop. Your RAS filters it out. It's irrelevant to your solution code. You wipe it without even thinking about it. You get in the car. You hit a red light. Your RAS instantly files this under solution or opportunity. Your thought is, good, this gives me 45 seconds to mentally rehearse my apology for being late. Handle it. A car cuts you off. Your RAS filters it out. Irrelevant. You're focused on your own mission. You get to the office. You are still late. The event did not change, but you did. You walk in calm, focused, and in control. You find your boss. You say, I apologize for my lateness. It won't happen again. I'm ready for the 9 a.m. meeting. You have just debugged your reality. You've taken the exact same set of circumstances that would have created a disaster, and you recoded it into a minor, manageable problem. This is the first command line. This is the power of your internal dialogue. The winner's mindset is not about never having negative thoughts. That's impossible. You're human, and your default code will always suggest them. A winner is simply someone who has gotten very, very good at catching the malware, challenging its logic, and changing the command. Your automatic negative thoughts are malware. Your new job is to turn them into ANTs, active, neutralizing thoughts. Your homework, your practice, is to become the chief debugger of your own mind. Catch, challenge, change. Run that new protocol. Run it 100 times a day. It will feel like work at first. You are literally fighting your default code. But we know from Chapter 2 that every time you run this new catch, challenge, change loop, you are building that neural pathway. You are myelinating it. You are carving a new superhighway. The more you do it, the easier it will get. Until one day, the new code becomes the default code. We've now learned to debug our thoughts. But what happens when the threat isn't just a thought? What happens when you actually fail? When the project does collapse? When you get the rejection letter? What happens when your default code triggers its ultimate weapon? An overwhelming, visceral, emotional hijack that shuts down your thinking brain entirely. In our next chapter, we are going to move from debugging thoughts to debugging fear. We will confront the amygdala hijack and learn how winners do the one thing survivors cannot. They metabolize failure. When you get knocked down, do you stay down? When you fail, and I mean really fail, when the project collapses, when the client says no, when you get the rejection letter, when the launch you bet everything on flops, what happens inside you? Does it feel like a data point? Or does it feel like a verdict? Does it feel like that approach didn't work? Or does it feel like I am not good enough? For most of us, failure isn't just an event. It's a judgment. It feels final. It feels personal. And it feels shameful. Your default code, that survival-obsessed program we've been diagnosing, treats failure as a mortal threat. It's a stop sign, a game over screen. It's a flashing red warning that says you are being exiled from the tribe. You are not worthy. And in that moment, all the logic in the world, all the growth mindset talk from Chapter 2, all the positive thinking from Chapter 3, it all just vanishes. Why? Why does failure have this unique power to override our intellect? Why does it physically hurt? It's because when you truly fail, you are no longer dealing with a simple automatic negative thought. You are not just thinking a bad thought. You are having a full-body, top-to-bottom biological meltdown. Your brain's default code for survival has just hit the panic button. This is the amygdala hijack, and in this chapter, we are going to confront it. We are not just going to understand it, we are going to build a biological reset switch. We are going to install the winner's code for compiling resilience. Because winners don't win because they never fail. Winners win because they have learned how to metabolize failure. They've learned to recode a biological poison into a high-performance fuel. Let's get right into the science. This is mission critical. You have two key players in your brain when it comes to failure. First, you have your prefrontal cortex, or PFC. This is your winner's mindset headquarters. It's the programmer's desk. It's your CEO. It's the cool, calm, logical, modern part of your brain right behind your forehead. Your PFC is what handles complex analysis, long-term planning, emotional regulation, and learning from mistakes. It's the only part of your brain that can look at a failure and say, interesting. Let's analyze the data and find a better solution. But then, you have your amygdala. The amygdala is not your CEO. It's your alarm system. It's your ancient default code panic button. It's part of your limbic system, and its only job is to constantly scan your environment and your thoughts for one thing: threats. As we discussed in Chapter 1, this system was built for a world of physical threats. But in the modern world, what does your amygdala perceive as the ultimate threat? It's not a saber-toothed tiger. It's social rejection. It's shame. It's failure. To your amygdala, being shamed or failing in front of your tribe, your colleagues, your boss, your family, is the modern-day equivalent of being exiled from the cave. And to your ancient survival-obsessed brain, exile means death. So, when you fail, when that big project collapses, your amygdala doesn't care about your long-term goals. It doesn't care about learning. It believes you are about to die. And it does what it was designed to do. It hijacks your entire system. In 1/10 of a second, your amygdala screams "threat" and floods your body with a powerful chemical cocktail. It dumps adrenaline, jacking up your heart rate, making your breathing shallow, and heating up your face. And it unleashes a tidal wave of cortisol, the master stress hormone. And here is the most important part of the entire process. This chemical flood, this hijack, has one devastating side effect. It shuts down the slow, non-essential parts of your brain to conserve energy for fight or flight. And the first thing it shuts down is your prefrontal cortex. Your CEO is gone. Your logical programmer's desk is offline. This is why you can't just think logically when you're in the grip of failure. You are biologically incapable of it. Your thinking brain has been short-circuited by your threat brain. You are now being run entirely by the default code. You are in full-on survival mode. And in survival mode, you don't have time for nuance or data analysis. You only have three options, the three Fs. Fight. You get defensive. You lash out. You blame your team. You blame the client. You blame the unfair circumstances. This isn't my fault. Flight. You hide. You avoid your boss's calls. You suddenly feel sick and go home. You bury yourself in busy work to avoid dealing with the failed project. Freeze. You shut down. You stare at your screen. You can't think. You can't move. You are totally and completely overwhelmed, trapped in a loop of shame. This is the amygdala hijack. It's the biological reason why failure feels like a verdict. Your brain has literally shut down the only part of you that could have seen it as data. Let's run the scenario. I want you to feel this. You've spent 2 months working on a massive, career-changing proposal. You want to lead a new division, and this is your shot. You've worked weekends. You've poured your soul into it. You hit send. You wait 2 days. Then an email lands in your inbox. It's from the client. It's one sentence. And your boss is CC'd. It reads, "Thank you for your time, but we've decided to go in another direction." Boom! The hijack is instant. Your heart slams into your ribs, adrenaline. Your face feels hot. Your stomach plummets, as if you just stepped off a cliff, cortisol. Your default code starts screaming. The ants from Chapter 3 are on fire. I'm finished. My boss thinks I'm an idiot. They all know. I am a fraud. I'll never get a promotion. I'm a failure. A colleague, Sarah, walks by your desk. She smiles and says, "Hey, how's it going?" What do? Do you say, "I just got rejected and I'd like to analyze the data"? No, you are hijacked. If you're in fight mode, you snap, "Fine, can't you see I'm busy?" If you're in flight mode, you mumble, "Fine," and you immediately get up and walk to the bathroom, just to escape. If you're in freeze mode, you just stare at her and your brain goes blank. You spend the entire rest of the day in this chemical poison bath. You can't focus, you can't work. You go home and you ruminate. You're replaying the shame of it. You are not replaying the proposal. You can't. Your PFC is still offline. You cannot learn when you are hijacked. You cannot be a winner when you are trapped in survivor mode. A survivor stays in this hijacked state for days, weeks, even months. The failure becomes a permanent monument, a new piece of junk code that says, "Don't ever try that again. It's not safe." A winner feels the exact same hijack. The biology is identical. The only difference is that a winner has a system to end the hijack in minutes. This is the winner's code for failure. It's a 2-step protocol. Step 1, run the biological reset. Step 2, run the data extraction. That's it. Let's break it down. Step 1, run the biological reset. Get the PFC back online. You cannot outthink an amygdala hijack. You cannot talk your amygdala down. It doesn't speak logic. But it does speak body. Your amygdala controls your autonomic nervous system. It controls your heart rate and your breathing. It's the one that makes you breathe fast and shallow. But here's the master code, the back door into the system. This is a two-way street. Your amygdala can control your breathing, but you can also use your breathing to control your amygdala. When you consciously take control of your breathing and force it to be slow and deep, you are sending a direct physiological signal back to your amygdala. You are biologically lying to it. You are saying, "There is no threat. We are not running from a tiger. We are safe." The most powerful tool for this is called tactical breathing, or box breathing. It's used by Navy SEALs, by first responders, by winners. To end the hijack and force the PFC back online, it's simple. You will not react. You will not type. You will not speak. You will simply inhale slowly for a 4-second count. Hold your breath for a 4-second count. Exhale slowly for a 4-second count. Hold the exhale for a 4-second count. Do this 5 times, just 5. In those 80 seconds, you have biologically stopped the flood. The slow exhale, in particular, activates your vagus nerve, which is the brake pedal for your entire fight-or-flight system. It tells your amygdala, false alarm, stand down. The cortisol and adrenaline stop pumping. The chemical fog begins to clear. And your prefrontal cortex, your CEO, your programmer's desk, boots back up. Step 2. Run the data extraction. Recode the event. Now, and only now, are you ready for Step 2. Your thinking brain is back. The default code says failure is a verdict on your identity. The winner's code says failure is a beta test on your strategy. A beta test isn't shameful. A beta test isn't personal. A beta test is data. Its entire purpose is to find the bugs so you can fix the code. So you are going to run the debugger. You are going to force your PFC to engage by asking it a series of logical, unemotional programmer's questions. Open a new document. Do not open an email. This is for you, and you will write the answers to these 4 questions. What was the intended outcome? Forces you to state the goal, not the failure. What was the actual outcome? Forces you to state the facts, not the drama. We were not selected, not I was humiliated. Why was there a difference? The bug report. Be specific. My pricing was too high. My solution section was vague. I didn't address their key pain point. This is data, not shame. What is the new command? The code patch. What is the one thing I will do differently next time? Next time, I will get a soft check on pricing before submitting. Next time, I will have 3 concrete examples in my solution section. Now, let's rerun that entire scenario with the new code. It's Tuesday. You get the email. We've decided to go in another direction. Boom. The hijack still happens. The winner's code does not stop the hijack. Nothing can. You are human. Your heart slams. Your stomach drops. But this time, you have a protocol. Step 1. Catch and reset. You name it. From Chapter 3. That's it. That's the amygdala hijack. You do not react. You do not hit reply. You do not call your boss to blame the client. You simply close your eyes. Or you just look away from your screen. And you run the reset. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. You do this 5 times. You feel your heart rate slow down. You feel the heat in your face recede. You feel the fog of war in your mind lift. Your prefrontal cortex is back. Step 2. Run the data extraction. You open a new blank document. You type your 4 questions. Intended outcome, to win the client and lead the new division. Actual outcome, the client chose another vendor. Why? Bug report. I've been rereading my proposal. My solution was all about our company's process. I spent 0 time on their specific customer retention problem. I assumed I knew the answer. I failed to listen properly in the discovery call. New command, code patch. From now on, my solution section will always be written using the client's own words from the discovery call. The failure was not me, the failure was the strategy. You have just, in 10 minutes, done what the survivor will never do. You have metabolized the failure. You have turned a verdict on your identity into a patch for your code. It is no longer poison. It is fuel for the next attempt. You've compiled your resilience. We've now learned to debug our negative thoughts, and we've learned to reset our fear of failure. But what about the start? What about that giant, complex, overwhelming task? The one you know you need to do, but you just can't. What about the action itself? That is the procrastination loop, and it's a different kind of default code entirely. In our next chapter, we are going to write the action protocol. We are going to override the loop that keeps you stuck and finally get you to execute. Why do you know, with perfect, crystal clarity, exactly what you need to do, but you still can't make yourself do it? You have the business plan, but you haven't made the call. You have the gym membership, but you haven't gone in a week. You have that big, important, career-defining project sitting on your desk right now, and you are suddenly obsessed with cleaning your inbox, reorganizing your files, and just doing a little more research. You know the what, you even know the why, but you are fatally stuck at the how. This is the great knowing-doing gap, and it is the most frustrating prison on earth. This isn't just laziness. Let's get that word out of our vocabulary. Laziness is a moral judgment. What you are experiencing is a biological state. It's a bug in your default code. It's called the procrastination loop. It's that feeling of analysis paralysis where you plan to do the thing. It's the "I'll wait for motivation" trap. It's the "I'll start on Monday" lie. And it is the single greatest killer of winning that exists. In the last chapter, we learned how to metabolize failure after it happens. In this chapter, we are going to attack the failure that happens before you even begin. We are going to override the procrastination loop. We are going to hotwire your brain for action. We are going to install the winner's code that finally gets you to start. To break this loop, you have to understand what's really happening in your brain. This is not a battle of willpower. This is a battle over a single powerful chemical. It's a battle for dopamine. Now, you've heard of dopamine. Most people think of it as the pleasure chemical. That's only half the story. Dopamine is not the reward itself. It is the molecule of more. It's the chemical of anticipation and motivation. It's the go-getter neurotransmitter. It's the part of your brain that says, "Go get that. It's worth the effort." Here's the conflict. Your brain's default code, that ancient survival-obsessed limbic system, is a dopamine fiend. But it's a lazy fiend. It wants the biggest dopamine hit for the least amount of effort. It is programmed for immediate, predictable, low-energy rewards. But that big, important, life-changing project, that's a winner's code goal. And it offers the opposite. It offers a delayed, uncertain, high-energy reward. Let's break down the threat analysis your default code is running on that big project. It's high energy. It requires your prefrontal cortex to focus, create, and solve problems. This burns a ton of mental calories, glucose. Your default code hates burning energy. It wants to conserve energy. It's uncertain. You might finish it, and your boss might hate it. You might launch the business, and it might fail. Your amygdala, from Chapter 4, screams at this uncertainty. It's a threat. It's delayed. The reward, the promotion, the profit, is weeks or months away. So your default code looks at this big, important, winning task, and it tags it as a bad deal. It labels it high risk, low certainty, high effort. It starves your prefrontal cortex of that go-getter dopamine. It wants you to not do this dangerous thing. But it still craves a dopamine hit. So what does it do? It hijacks your motivation system. It steers you with an almost physical pull away from the bad deal and toward an easy win. What's an easy win? Checking your email, scrolling social media, making a new to-do list, cleaning your desk. These tasks are immediate, predictable, and low effort. Every time you reply to an email, you get a tiny, predictable ping of dopamine. Task complete. Every time you scroll and see a new image, ping, dopamine. This is the procrastination loop. Your brain is intentionally steering you into cheap dopamine tasks to save you from the threat of the hard, important task. You are not lazy. You are trapped in a dopamine feedback loop that was designed for survival, not for success. Let's run the scenario. This is going to sound very familiar. You've blocked out 3 hours on your calendar. 3 p.m. to 6 p.m., work on big report. This is your winner's code plan. 3 p.m. hits. You sit down. You open the blank document. And you stare at it. The vastness of the task hits you. It's huge. It's complex. You don't even know where to start. Your default code instantly flags this as a bad deal. Your amygdala whispers, "This is overwhelming. This is a threat. What if you do it wrong?" And just like that, a new thought appears, as if from nowhere. You know, my inbox is an absolute mess. I can't possibly focus on this report with 30 unread emails. I'll just clear my inbox first so I can really focus. Do you see the genius of that default code lie? It disguises procrastination as productivity. So you open your inbox. 3:01 p.m. Ping. You answer an easy one. Dopamine hit. Ping. You delete some spam. Dopamine hit. Ping. You reply to a colleague. Dopamine hit. It feels good. It feels productive. You are getting things done. You look up. It's 4:45 p.m. You've spent nearly 2 hours chasing cheap dopamine. You've productively cleared your inbox, you've reorganized your desktop files, and you've made a new, more detailed to-do list for the report. You have done everything, except the one thing you were supposed to do. You felt busy, but you have achieved nothing. Now you're exhausted because all that task switching, which we'll cover in the next chapter, has drained your prefrontal cortex. You close the blank document. I'm just too tired. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll start fresh. The default code has won. The loop is complete. So, how do we break it? We have to shatter the motivation myth. The default code tells you a massive lie. Motivation causes action. It tells you that you must wait until you feel motivated, inspired, or ready, and then you will act. This is the junk code that keeps you in the prison of waiting. The winner's code flips the entire script. The winner's code knows the biological truth. Action precedes motivation. Motivation is not the spark that starts the engine, it's the result of the engine turning over. Motivation is the flywheel. It's hard to get moving, but once it's in motion, it creates its own momentum. You don't wait to feel good to act, you act to feel good. Your default code will never feel like starting the hard task. Your only hope is to bypass the feeling part entirely. You must force the action. You need a cognitive override, a command line that short-circuits your brain's negotiation phase and forces execution. This is the action protocol. It's 2 lines of code. Line 1, the ignition sequence, the 5-second rule. This technique, famously coined by Mel Robbins, is a neurological cheat code. The moment you have the instinct to act on your goal, the moment your PFC says, I should open that report now, or I should go to the gym, your default code will jump in to protect you. It will flood you with excuses. You're too tired. It's not the right time. Just check email first. You have a 5-second window. A 5-second window before that default code malware loads and hijacks your system. The ignition sequence is this. You must take physical action related to your goal within 5 seconds. You do this by counting backwards, out loud or in your head. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, move. This is not a gimmick. This is cognitive warfare. The act of counting focuses your prefrontal cortex. The backward count prevents your brain from drifting. If you count up, you can just keep going. 1, 2, 10, 100. The move at the end is a physical command that triggers your motor cortex. It is a cognitive override that launches you from thinking about doing into physically doing. Line 2, the entry point, the 2-minute rule. Okay, you're moving, but what do you move to? The big report is still a bad deal. It's still a threat. So you lie to your brain. This technique from productivity expert David Allen is designed to make the entry point of the task so laughably small, so non-threatening that your default code cannot fight it. Your new goal is not work on the big report for 3 hours. Your new goal is work on the big report for 2 minutes. That's it, just 120 seconds. Your default code can't argue with that. 2 minutes? That's not a threat. That's easy. Fine, go ahead. You'll get a tiny dopamine hit for completing that. So you run the code. I need to work on the report. The excuses start. But I'm tired. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, move. You physically sit down and open the document. That's the move. Now, your only goal is to run the 2-minute program. I will just read the last section for 2 minutes. I will just write one single sentence for the introduction. I will just open my running shoes and put them on. You don't even have to run. You have overridden the loop. You have started. Now, here is where the magic happens. You write that one sentence, and you know what happens? You finish it. Ping. You just got a dopamine hit. But this isn't the cheap, empty dopamine of checking email. This is intrinsic, task-based dopamine. This is the real stuff. This is the winner's code dopamine. Your brain, the same brain that was fighting you 2 minutes ago, releases that chemical and says, "Ooh, that actually felt good. We made progress. That wasn't a threat." And that dopamine hit gives you the motivation to write the second sentence. And that win gives you the motivation for the third. The flywheel is turning. The action itself is creating the very motivation you thought you needed to start. You look up, it's 4:30 p.m. You've been in a state of flow for 90 minutes. You've written 3 pages. You didn't wait for motivation, you created it. You didn't overpower your default code, you tricked it, bypassed it, and then recruited it. That is the action protocol. Your new code is this: stop waiting for motivation, start manufacturing it. Your default code will always choose the path of least resistance. It will always choose cheap dopamine. The winner's code is to force the start. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, move, and shrink the start, the 2-minute rule. You've learned to start. You forced the action. But what happens next? You're in the document. You're in the gym. You're on the call. And your phone buzzes. Your email dings. Your chat pops up. You've just run headfirst into the next great enemy of the winner's mindset. In our next chapter, we are going to write the focus algorithm. We are going to win the war on distraction. You did it. You ran the action protocol from Chapter 5. You beat procrastination. You counted 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and you moved. You used the 2-minute rule, and you started. You are sitting at your desk. That big, important proposal is open on your screen. You are in the game. And then, ding, an email notification slides into the corner of your screen. Buzz. Your phone, sitting right next to your keyboard, lights up with a text message. Pop. A chat bubble from a colleague appears in your sidebar. "Hey, got a quick question?" And just like that, you're gone. Your focus, that precious, powerful, creative energy you just managed to summon, is shattered. It's fractured into a dozen tiny, useless pieces. Is your attention yours? Or is it constantly being stolen, fractured, and sold to the highest bidder? To the social media app? To the urgent but not important email? To the colleague who just needed a second? Welcome to the new battlefield. It's not a battle to start. It's a battle to continue. We live in a world that is brilliantly and maliciously designed to fragment your focus. It has gamified your default code. It knows your brain loves cheap dopamine from Chapter 5, so it manufactures an infinite supply of it. Every ding, every buzz, every notification is a tiny, engineered dopamine hit, designed to pull you out of what matters, your work, and into what doesn't, their platform. The default code of the modern world is distraction. We have been tricked into mistaking busyness for productivity. We mistake connectivity for progress. We wear our multitasking like a badge of honor. But here is the biological truth. Here is the core of this chapter. Multitasking is a lie. It does not exist. You cannot do it. What you are actually doing is serial task switching, and it is making you slower, less intelligent, and draining your cognitive battery, leaving you exhausted for no good reason. Today, we are going to stop managing distractions. We are going to win the war on them. We are going to write a focus algorithm that turns your mind from a fractured processor into a deep work supercomputer. Let's get the science on the table. This is the bug that's running your entire system into the ground. Junk code we've all been sold is that the human brain is like a modern multi-core computer able to run email and a chat and a web browser and a report all at the same time seamlessly. This is fatally wrong. Your prefrontal cortex, your CEO, your programmer's desk, the part of your brain that does all complex, high-value winner's code work is not a multi-core processor. It is a single-core processor, a phenomenally powerful one, but it can only truly deeply focus on one complex task at a time. When you multitask, you are not running two programs at once. You are forcing your brain to violently switch back and forth between them. This forced switch comes with a massive biological penalty. It's called the cognitive switching penalty or context switching cost. I want you to picture this. That big report you're writing, that's a massive software program. To run it, your brain has to load an incredible amount of context into its short-term RAM. It has to load the goal of the report, the data you've already analyzed, the tone you're trying to set, the argument you were in the middle of building, the three-step logical conclusion you were just about to write down. You are loaded. You are in flow. Ding! The email notification appears. Just a quick look, you think. It'll only take 30 seconds. You switch. You open the email. To your default code, this feels productive. You're doing something. But here's what just happened in your brain. To open and process that email, a different program, your brain had to dump that entire big report context. It purged the RAM. It let go of that brilliant three-step argument you were about to write. Now, you answer the email. It takes 30 seconds. You feel efficient. You switch back to the big's report document. And what do you see? Blankness. You stare at the cursor. Your mind is empty. You think, wait, what was I just about to say? Where was I? I had this great idea. It's gone. This blank feeling is the cognitive switching penalty. It is the reload time. Your brain now has to painstakingly drag all of that complex context back into its RAM. Researchers have found that this reload process can take 10, 15, even 20 minutes just to get back to the same level of deep focus you were at before the 30-second interruption. Now, here's the biological cost. This entire process, the dumping and the reloading, is not free. It is one of the most metabolically expensive things your brain can do. It burns a massive amount of your cognitive fuel, glucose. Glucose is your brain battery. You only have a finite amount of it for deep, focused work. Every ding, every buzz, every switch is like punching a hole in that battery. It's leaking your most precious resource on waste. You are not multitasking. You are making your brain reboot a complex program 20 times an hour. Let's run the scenario. Let's see how this bug murders your productivity. It's 3 p.m. You've got that big report to write. You've got your winner's code mindset. You're motivated, but your digital environment is default. Your email tab is open. Your chat is on. Your phone is face up on the desk. 3 p.m. You start writing. You build up your context. You're finding your flow. It's hard, but you're getting there. 3:05 p.m. Ding! Email from your boss. Quick update. It's urgent. You switch. You read it. You switch back. You reload your context. Okay, where was I? Right. 3:12 p.m. Buzz. Text from your friend. A funny meme. You switch. You laugh. You text back. You switch back. You reload. More glucose burned. 3:19 p.m. Pop. Chat from Sarah. Hey, did you see that email from the boss? You switch. You type. Yeah, just saw it. You switch back. You reload. 3:27 p.m. You get a new idea, a brilliant one. You're about to type it, and a breaking news notification flashes on your phone's lock screen. You don't even touch it. You just glance at it. And it's gone. The glance was enough. The context is dumped. The idea is lost. This continues for 3 hours. At 6 p.m., you look up. The 1-hour task is still not done. You've written maybe one decent page. The work is shallow and mediocre, because you were never deep enough to have a complex thought. And how do you feel? You are completely, totally brain-dead exhausted. You feel like you've been working hard for 3 hours, and you have. Your brain has been working, switching. It's been sprinting back and forth, reloading, dumping, reloading, dumping. You've drained your entire cognitive battery on the friction of switching, not on the work of creating. You've been busy, but you have not been productive. This is the default code trap. The winner's code is not about managing this chaos. It's not about willpower. You cannot will yourself to ignore a ding. That also burns glucose. The winner's code is deep work. It's an algorithm you design for your day. It's a fortress you build around your mind. It's based on a simple premise. To do high-value winner's code work, you must create a zero-distraction cognitive state. This isn't about more willpower. It's about less need for it. It's about making focus the path of least resistance. This is the focus algorithm. It has 2 simple, non-negotiable commands. Command 1. Design your fortress. Environment design. Your environment is programming your behavior. You must design an environment that eliminates the possibility of a context switch. Before you start a deep work session, you must run this lockdown protocol. The digital fortress. Email. Close the program. Do not minimize it. Close it. Chat, Slack, Teams. Quit the program. Change your status to focusing before you quit so your team knows the new code. Browser. Close every single tab that is not 100% essential to the one task at hand. Notifications. Go into your computer's settings and turn all of them off. All of them. No banners, no sounds. The physical fortress. Your phone. This is the ultimate cheap dopamine weapon. It cannot be in the same room. Not on silent, not face down. It must be in another room or in a drawer, on silent. This is non-negotiable. If your default code knows it's there, it will spend glucose resisting it. Eliminate the choice. Your space. Shut your door. Put on headphones, even with no music, as a social signal to others. My code is compiling. Do not interrupt. This isn't extreme. This is professional. A winner understands their biological hardware and protects their single-core processor from junk code. Command 2. Run the focus block. Time blocking. Now that your fortress is built, you give your single-core processor one command to execute. You do not work on the report. That is a vague, threatening goal from Chapter 5. You schedule a focus block. This is a specific, finite chunk of time. I recommend 90 minutes. It's the sweet spot for a full, deep work cycle. Set a timer. Set a real timer for 90 minutes. This creates a finish line. Your default code can handle the hard work because it knows it's temporary. Execute one task. For these 90 minutes, you work on that one task and nothing else. You are unreachable. You are compiling code. Take a real break. When that timer goes off, you stop. And you must take a real cognitive break, 15-20 minutes. Just checking email is not a break. That is more shallow work. A real break is get up, walk, look out the window, get water. Let your PFC rest and recharge its glucose. Now, let's rerun that same 3 p.m. scenario, but with the focus algorithm. 2:55 p.m. You run the lockdown protocol. Chat and email are closed. Your phone is in the kitchen. Your headphones are on. Your timer is set for 90 minutes. 3 o'clock. You start. You reload the context. This still takes 10 to 15 minutes. It's still hard. You are still hacking through that jungle path from Chapter 2. But then, nothing stops you. An email arrives. You do not see it. A text is sent. You do not hear it. A chat message waits. It's just you and the work. Your single-core processor is 100% dedicated. You are deep in the code. Your thoughts are complex. You find that brilliant 3-step argument. You write it. You write it. You are not burning glucose on switching. You are investing it in creating. You are myelinating that big report pathway at light speed. You are in a flow state. 4:30 p.m. The timer dings. You jolt back to reality. You look at the clock. 90 minutes just vanished. You look at your document.
You haven't written one page, you've written 5, and they are brilliant. The work is deep, logical, and persuasive. And how do you feel? You are energized, you are proud, you feel powerful, you won. You have just done in 90 minutes what your default code self failed to do in 3 hours. That is the winner's code. Busyness is the default code reacting to 1,000 cheap dopamine hits. Productivity is the winner's code proactively designing a state of deep, singular focus. You must become the unforgiving gatekeeper of your own mind. Your attention is your single greatest asset. Protect it. You now have the code to start Chapter 5 and the code to focus Chapter 6. But you can't force this level of intense fortress-building focus every minute of every day. You'd burn out. So how do winners make success look so easy, so automatic? They don't run the code every time. They've learned how to automate it. They've installed it so it becomes the new default code. In our next chapter, we're going to explore your brain's automation center. We're going to write the habit stack and turn your winner's code into an autopilot for success. How do they do it? How do winners, the people at the absolute top of their game, make success look so easy, so automatic? How do they find the time to wake up early and work out and meditate and read 50 books a year and execute flawlessly on their biggest goals, while the rest of us are still just trying to get out of bed on time? Do they just have more willpower than you? Are they better human beings? Are they fueled by some super discipline that you just weren't born with? No. Here's the truth. You've been lied to. You've been told that success is a product of willpower and motivation. You've been told that winners are just tougher, that they force themselves to do the hard things every single day through sheer white-knuckled grit. And that is a devastating lie, because it sets you up for failure. Why? Because willpower is not a character trait. It is a finite biological resource. Your willpower, that force of will that you use to make yourself start the hard task, Chapter 5, or maintain your focus, is a high-energy function of your prefrontal cortex. As we've learned, your PFC runs on glucose. It's a battery. And by lunchtime, on a good day, that battery is already in the red. If you are relying on willpower to win, you are guaranteed to lose. You are starting a marathon with a battery pack that is designed to die after 3 miles. Winners know this. Consciously or unconsciously, they know that willpower is a joke. It's a liar. It's the least reliable tool you have. So, they don't use it. They don't rely on motivation. They don't depend on willpower. They have learned how to bypass their conscious programmer entirely. They've learned how to take their winner's code and save it to a different part of their brain, the part that runs on autopilot. They're not forcing success, their habits are automating it. Today, you are going to learn how to stop running the winner's code on willpower and start installing it as your new default code. We are going to write the habit stack, and you are going to learn to make your success automatic. Let's do the science. This is the master key to effortless execution. We've spent a lot of time talking about your prefrontal cortex, PFC. That's your CEO, your conscious programmer. It's where you think, you plan, you analyze, and you force yourself to do hard things. It is powerful, creative, and incredibly energy expensive. It's the RAM of your computer. But there is another, deeper, more ancient system in your brain. It's called the basal ganglia. I want you to think of your basal ganglia as your brain's automation center. It's the hard drive. Your brain hates wasting energy. It is pathologically lazy. It hates using the PFC. So, the basal ganglia has one job: to watch your behavior. It's looking for any repeated action,
any code loop that you run over and over again. And when it spots one, it says, you do this in this situation every single time. This is costing the CEO, the PFC, a ton of energy to decide to do. I can do this cheaper. So, the basal ganglia takes that code loop, removes it from your conscious PFC, and burns it onto its own circuitry. It turns a conscious, effortful decision into an unconscious, automatic program. That program is called a habit. This is the habit loop, and it's a simple 3-step program. Cue, the trigger that tells the basal ganglia to run the program. Routine, the automatic program itself, the physical or mental action. Reward, the tiny dopamine hit at the end that tells the basal ganglia, good, that code worked, save it, run it again next time. Here's the critical part. Your basal ganglia does not care if the program is good for you or bad for you. It is not a moral machine. It is an efficiency machine. Its only goal is to save energy. It will just as efficiently automate a winner's code, like lacing up your running shoes, as it will a junk code, like reaching for a cigarette. So, let's look at your current default code. Scenario 1, the junk code autopilot. The alarm goes off. This is the cue. You turn it off, and what is the very first thing you do, before you are even awake? You reach for your phone. This is the routine. You open social media or email. You get a novelty hit, a dopamine ping. This is the reward. You did not decide to do that. You did not use your willpower. Your PFC was not even online. Your basal ganglia ran that junk code for you on autopilot in less than a second. It's a habit. It's automated. Scenario 2, the winner's code autopilot. Now, let's look at a winner. The alarm goes off, the cue. They turn it off, and they immediately swing their legs out of bed and put on the running shoes they left right next to it, the routine. They feel that tiny internal click of progress, a dopamine ping of, I am who I say I am, the reward. Did that person use willpower? Did they lie in bed and have a 10-minute debate with their default code? No. Their winner's code is also automated. Their basal ganglia ran that put on shoes program for them. They've made winning their new autopilot. You see? Winners don't have more willpower. They've just invested their willpower more wisely. They've used their PFC in the short term to program their basal ganglia for the long term. They endured the struggle of building the habit from Chapter 2 just long enough for the automation center to take it over. And once your basal ganglia has the program, it takes 0 willpower to run it. This is the ultimate win. It's taking effort out of the equation. So, how do we intentionally write a new program and force the basal ganglia to save it? We have to use a programming language that the basal ganglia understands. You can't just tell your basal ganglia, okay, new habit, I'm going to be healthier now. That's not code. It's a vague wish. The basal ganglia runs on a different operating system. It runs on the language of association. It runs on context. It loves to chain programs together to be even more efficient. The winner's code for installing new habits is called habit stacking. This technique, perfected by Stanford's B.J. Fogg, is the master syntax for programming your automation center. It's based on a simple, brilliant insight. You already have dozens, if not hundreds, of superhighways from Chapter 2 running on autopilot in your basal ganglia. These are your existing habits. They are unbreakable. Making your morning coffee, brushing your teeth, flushing the toilet, checking your phone, putting your head on the pillow. These are your anchor habits. They are your cues. They run every single day without any willpower. To install a new code, you don't build a new highway from scratch. That's hard. You simply build a tiny on-ramp from an existing superhighway. You stack your new desired behavior immediately after an old automated one. The programming syntax is a simple command. After current automated habit, I will new tiny habit. This is code. It's specific. It's contextual. It gives your basal ganglia a precise cue, the current habit, and a simple routine, the new habit. This removes the single biggest point of failure, the decision of when and where to do your new habit. You're no longer waiting for motivation to meditate. You're no longer trying to find time to read. You've written it into the code of your existing day. Let's run the scenario. Let's write some winner's code. Your goal: I want to be more mindful and reduce my stress. The default code: lie. I'll try to meditate for 20 minutes when I have time. Result: you never have time. You never feel like it. You fail by 10 a.m. Your willpower drains. Now, let's use the habit stack syntax. What is your most unbreakable morning habit? Your anchor. It's making your morning coffee. You would never forget to do this. It's pure autopilot. So, we stack the new code onto that anchor. The winner's code. Habit stack. After I press the start button on my coffee maker, I will sit at my kitchen table and do 1 minute of box breathing. From Chapter 4. Let's debug this. Why is this perfect code? The cue is unbreakable. Pressing the start button. You will do this. The routine is tiny. 1 minute, not 20 minutes. Your default code cannot fight this. It's a 2-minute rule from Chapter 5. It's so easy that it's harder to skip than to do. The reward is immediate. You get 2 rewards. The internal win, I did it, plus your coffee is ready. You've linked the new habit to the existing reward of your morning coffee. Let's see this in action. Day 1. You press the start button. Your PFC, your conscious programmer, has to remind you. Run the code. Sit down. It feels a little forced. You sit, you do 60 seconds. Of breathing, your PFC is using willpower. Day 5. You press the start button. Your PFC barely has to nudge you. Time to sit. You do it. It feels normal. Day 15. You press the start button, and before you can even think, your basal ganglia has already taken over. You are already sitting down. Your body is moving without your permission. Day 30. The program is saved. It is no longer a conscious decision. It is part of the Making Coffee program. It is automatic. It is addictive. You have just installed mindfulness into your default code. It now costs you 0 willpower. You are a programmer. Let's write more code. Let's stack our entire winner's mindset. Goal: I want to read more. Junk code: I'll read if I'm not too tired. Winner's code: after I put my head on the pillow, I will read 1 page. Debug: you stack it on the unbreakable habit of going to bed. Goal: I want to be more grateful. Junk code: I should remember to be grateful. Winner's code: after I sit down to eat dinner, I will think of 1 thing I am grateful for from the day. Debug: you stack it on the unbreakable habit of eating dinner. Goal: I need to get my workout in. Junk code: I'll go to the gym after work. This is weak code. After work is vague and competes with I'm tired. Winner's code: after I turn off my 6 a.m. alarm, I will put on my running shoes. Debug: this is the master code. You're not even committing to the run. You are just automating the start. You are stacking it on waking up. This is the winner's code for life. Your default code is not your enemy. It's just running old programs. Your basal ganglia, your automation center, is desperate to help you. It is begging you to give it new code to run so it can free up your CEO, your PFC, for more important things. Your new job is not to have more willpower. Your new job is to be a better programmer. Your job is to design a system of tiny, stacked habits that automates your winner's mindset and makes your success inevitable. We've now built a powerful system. We know that we can change, neuroplasticity. We know how to debug our thoughts, cognitive reframing. We know how to handle failure, amygdala reset. We know how to start, action protocol. We know how to focus, focus algorithm. And now we know how to automate it all, habit stacking. But there is one final piece of default code that corrupts all of this. It's the boogeyman of the modern world. It's the reason we're too tired, too anxious, and too overwhelmed to even try. I'm talking about stress. We've been conditioned to believe that stress is the enemy, that it's the poison that breaks us down. In our next chapter, you are going to learn the biggest winner's code secret of all. Stress is not the poison. Your belief about stress is. And you are about to learn how to recode it. Does stress break you down, or does it fuel your fire? When the pressure is on, when the deadline is tomorrow, when the presentation is in 10 minutes, when the stakes are high, do you rise or do you crumble? We have been taught for our entire lives to fear a single boogeyman. It's the silent killer. It's the plague of the modern world. We're told it's responsible for everything from heart disease to burnout to anxiety. That boogeyman is stress. We've been conditioned to believe that stress is the enemy. It's the ultimate junk code. It's a bug in our system that must be avoided, managed away, or eliminated at all costs. And this belief has created a devastating second wave of failure. It's not just the stress that breaks us anymore. It's our anxiety about being stressed. We feel our heart pound and we think, "Oh no, I'm stressed. This is bad for me. This is unhealthy. I'm failing at managing my stress." We get anxious about our anxiety. We get stressed about our stress. We get trapped in a meta loop of fear that doubles the poison. But what if I told you that this entire belief system is a lie? What if I told you that stress, the biological force itself, is not the enemy? What if it's not the poison at all? What if it's the power-up? In this chapter, we are going to write one of the most powerful and transformative lines of the winner's code. We are going to decompile the stress lie. We are going to stop running from this energy and start harnessing it. You are about to learn how to refile stress in your brain. You are going to learn how to take the exact same biological sensation that used to break you and recode it into your single greatest source of peak performance. To do this, we have to confront the stress paradox. And this paradox rests on one simple, mind-blowing biological fact. First, I want you to imagine a moment of high negative stress. You're about to give that massive presentation, like we've discussed. You're backstage, you're terrified. Describe the physical sensations in your body. Your heart is pounding in your chest, right? Your breathing is fast and shallow. Your palms are sweaty, your muscles are tense. Your mind is racing. You are acutely aware of everything. This is the classic stress response. Your brain's threat center, the amygdala, has pulled the alarm. It has flooded your system with a powerful chemical cocktail, chiefly adrenaline and cortisol. Your body is preparing for fight or flight. It's the default code survival program. And it feels terrible. It feels like fear. Okay, hold that feeling. Now, I want you to imagine a moment of high, positive excitement. You are strapped into the front seat of a roller coaster, climbing that first giant hill. Click, click, click. You are about to go on a first date with someone you are incredibly attracted to. You are in the starting blocks of a race you have trained months for, waiting for the starting gun. Now, describe those physical sensations. What's your heart doing? It's pounding, isn't it? What's your breathing like? It's fast and shallow. What about your palms? They're sweaty. Your mind is racing. You are acutely aware. It is biologically identical. The physical response your body produces for debilitating anxiety is exactly the same as the physical response it produces for intense excitement. Let that sink in. In both scenarios, your brain is doing the same thing. It is mobilizing. It is preparing you for action. It's dumping performance fuel into your system. It's giving you adrenaline for energy. It's giving you cortisol for focus. It's heightening your senses. Your body doesn't have a fear response and a separate excitement response. It just has one response. It's the activation response. It's the get ready response. So, if the physical sensation is identical, what is the difference? Why does one feel like fuel and the other feel like poison? The only difference is the cognitive label. The only difference is the story your prefrontal cortex, your conscious programmer, tells you about that sensation. When you're on the roller coaster, your programmer labels the sensation, "This is fun, this is thrilling, this is safe, this is excitement." That label allows you to enjoy the chemical rush. When you're backstage, your default code labels the exact same sensation, "This is danger, this is terror, you are going to fail, this is anxiety." And that label, that story, is the only thing that turns the power-up into poison. Let's run the scenario. Let's watch the default code execute and create the very failure it's afraid of. You're backstage. You're 5 minutes from giving the biggest presentation of your career. This is your winner's code goal. The activation response begins. Your body is trying to help you. It starts to flood you with performance fuel. Your heart pounds. Instantly, the default code malware from Chapter 3 runs. The ant, automatic negative thought, fires. "Oh no, my heart is pounding. This is terrible." This thought, this label, is interpreted by your amygdala as a confirmation of threat. You just told your brain, "Yes, this is a saber-toothed tiger. Panic." So, your amygdala doubles down. It pulls the alarm harder. It dumps more cortisol and more adrenaline. Your heart pounds faster. Your hands start to shake. The default code labels this too. "See? I'm shaking. I'm losing control. I'm going to humiliate myself. This is a disaster." Your amygdala screams. It floods your system again. You are now in a full-blown anxiety spiral. This massive chemical flood triggers the amygdala hijack from Chapter 4. It shuts down your prefrontal cortex. Your thinking brain, the only part of your brain that knows the presentation, is offline. Your logic is gone. Your memory is gone. You walk on stage, and your worst fear comes true. You freeze. You forget your words. Your voice shakes. You bomb the presentation. And your default code sits back and says, "See? I told you you were going to fail. That feeling was right." But the feeling didn't predict the failure. The label you put on the feeling caused the failure. You interpreted your body's activation response as fear, and in doing so, you programmed your own system to hijack itself. How does a winner handle this? They get the exact same physical activation response. Their heart pounds just as hard. The only difference? They have recoded the label. They have written a new command line. This is the winner's code for stress. It's called stress reappraisal. It's not about calming down. That's what the default code tries to do. Calm down, stop being stressed. This never works. This is like telling your body, "Don't use the fuel I just gave you." It just creates more conflict. The winner's code is not about stopping the feeling. It's about channeling it.
The winner's code says, "This energy is a resource. I will use it." The moment a winner feels that first pound in their chest, they catch it from Chapter 3, and they immediately run a new refiling program. They consciously reappraise the sensation. The new code sounds like this. "Wow, my heart is pounding. Good. This means my body is getting ready. This is my activation response. This is not anxiety. This is excitement. This is not fear. This is energy. My body is dumping performance fuel into my system.
It's giving me the power I need to be focused, charismatic, and sharp. This feeling is my ally. I am not nervous, I am energized. I am ready. This is not positive thinking. This is a direct cognitive intervention. It is biologically more accurate than the fear label. This is what your body is actually trying to do. It is trying to help you perform on a challenge. And here is the miracle of this recode. The moment your prefrontal cortex labels that sensation as excitement or challenge, your amygdala hears it, and it says, "Oh, it's a challenge, not a threat? Roger that. No hijack needed." The hijack is averted. The activation response continues, which is what you want. You still have the adrenaline for energy. You still have the cortisol for focus. But because you labeled it as excitement, your PFC stays online. Your thinking brain stays in control. You've just harnessed the default code survival system. You've turned what would have been a debilitating anxiety spiral into a high-performance flow state. Now, let's rerun that entire scenario with the new winner's code installed. You're backstage, 5 minutes. The activation response begins. Your heart pounds. Instantly, your new code, your stress reappraisal protocol, runs. 1. Catch. Ah, there it is, the feeling. 2. Reappraise. My old code would call this fear, but I know the truth. This is not a threat. This is a challenge. This is my body fueling up. 3. Relabel. This is excitement. This is energy. This pounding heart is going to make me powerful on that stage. This focus is going to make me sharp. I am ready. You accept the feeling. You welcome it. You lean into it. You do not spiral. Your prefrontal cortex remains 100% online. You walk on stage. Your heart is still beating like a drum. You are still full of adrenaline. But now, that energy doesn't go into shaking, it goes into your voice. You are charismatic, you are passionate. That cortisol focus doesn't go into ruminating on what if I fail. It goes into remembering your data. You are sharp, you are present. You nail the Q&A. You crush the presentation. You walk off stage and you still feel that buzz. But now you know what it is. It's the feeling of performance. You won. The event was the same. The biological sensation was the same. The code you ran on that sensation changed the entire outcome. This is the code. From this moment on, stress is not your boogeyman. Stress, anxiety, nerves, these are all just junk code labels for one single biological state, and that state is energy. Your default code wastes that energy on fear. The winner's code harnesses that energy for performance. Your new job is not to avoid stress. Your new job is to seek out challenges so that you can practice this reappraisal. The next time you have a stressful phone call, relabel it. My heart is kicking in. Good. This is my focus fuel. The next time you're nervous for a meeting, relabel it. I'm not nervous, I'm energized. This is how you turn pressure into peak performance. We have now recoded your internal world, your thoughts, your habits, your fear, your stress. You have now the full software package. But there is one last piece of the puzzle. Your code doesn't just run in a vacuum. It runs in an environment. And what happens if your new winner's code is constantly being corrupted by the junk code of the people, media, and spaces all around you? In our next chapter, we are going to build your firewall. We are going to code your environment for victory. Let me ask you a final critical question. You've done the work. You've learned to rewrite your default code. You've debugged your thoughts. You've recoded your fear of failure. You've automated your habits, and you've harnessed your stress. Your internal code is clean. It's powerful. It's yours. But what happens when you jack back into the real world? What happens when you take your pristine, newly written winner's code and you plug it into an environment that is saturated with junk code? Are the people you eat lunch with upgrading your operating system, or are they infecting it with viruses? Is the media you consume, the podcasts you listen to, the accounts you follow, the news you watch, reinforcing your new code? Or is it corrupting your entire system? We have a blind spot. We have been raised on a myth of rugged individualism. We believe that we are the sole authors of our thoughts. We believe we are independent, sovereign minds, and that what they think doesn't affect what I do. This is perhaps the most dangerous lie of all. The truth is, your brain is not a fortress. It is an open network. It is a receiver. You are not the sole author of your thoughts. You are a co-author with every single person and piece of media you allow into your network. You have been unconsciously downloading and running the junk code of your environment your entire life. In this chapter, we are going to stop being a passive receiver and start being an active network architect. We are going to write the influence script. We are going to build your firewall. Because if you win the internal war but lose the environmental war, you have lost. You cannot run winner's code on corrupted hardware. To understand this, you need to understand one of the most magical and terrifying systems in your brain. We're not talking about the amygdala today. We're not talking about dopamine. We're talking about a hidden system that connects your mind directly to other people's minds. They are called mirror neurons. This is one of the biggest discoveries in modern neuroscience, and here's what it means in simple terms. Your brain is designed to mimic. When you watch someone else perform an action, when you watch a golfer swing a club, or a musician play a chord, or even just watch someone smile, the neurons that fire in their brain also fire in your brain. Let me say that again. A part of your brain activates as if you were the one doing the action. You are literally practicing the action just by watching. But it gets so much deeper than that. This system doesn't just mirror actions. It mirrors emotions and beliefs. When you are sitting across from someone who is deeply anxious, their shoulders are tense, their voice is tight, their eyes are darting, your mirror neurons pick up those physical cues, and they replicate them in your body. You physically start to feel a tightness in your chest. You start to feel anxious for no reason. Their anxiety has literally downloaded into your nervous system. This is the biological root of empathy. It's why you feel a movie. It's why you wince when you see someone get hurt. Your brain is simulating their reality. It's a beautiful system. It's what connects us. But in the modern world, this beautiful system has become a vulnerability. Your mirror neurons do not have a filter. They do not care if the code they are downloading is winner's code or junk code. They just mirror. If your environment, your inner circle, your colleagues, your social feed, is cynical and resigned and fearful and addicted to cheap dopamine, what code do you think your brain is downloading and practicing 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? You are literally and biologically becoming the average of the code you surround yourself with. You cannot run a growth mindset from Chapter 2 if you are surrounded by people running a fixed mindset. You cannot run a stress reappraisal code from Chapter 8 if your tribe worships stress and bonds over how slammed they are. You cannot run an action protocol from Chapter 5 if your entire social circle's default code is, "I'll start on Monday." Your mirror neurons will overwrite your new effortful winner's code with their old automatic junk code, and you won't even feel it happen. Let's run the scenario. Let's watch the infection in real time. You've just finished Chapter 5. You are on fire. You have an ambitious, brilliant new idea for a business. You've broken it down. You've run the 5-second rule. You are acting. You are building that new neural highway. It's hard, but you're doing it. And you want to share it. You go to lunch with your old friend. Let's call him Mark. You've known Mark for 20 years. Mark is a good guy, but Mark is a survivor, not a winner. His default code is pure 100% negativity bias from Chapter 1. He is a dream killer disguised as a realist. You sit down. You're literally vibrating with the activation response, which you've relabeled as excitement from Chapter 8. You say, "Mark, I've got to tell you, I'm finally doing it. I'm starting my own consulting business." You lay out your vision, and you watch as Mark's default code executes. He doesn't smile. His mirror neurons don't mirror your excitement. They're blocked by his own junk code. He sighs. He gets that concerned look on his face. He leans back. He crosses his arms. Your mirror neurons are downloading all of this. Threat, shut down, protect. And then he says the classic junk code script. "Wow, that's brave. Are you sure that's a good idea right now? The economy is terrible. And what about your mortgage? What about your kids? Isn't that incredibly risky? I knew a guy who tried that, and he lost everything." Boom! The virus has been injected. What happens to you? That beautiful activation response, that excitement, instantly gets relabeled by his code. It becomes anxiety. Your mirror neurons copy his crossed arms. You feel yourself physically deflate. You lean back. Your default code, the negativity bias, roars back to life. It says, "See, Mark is right. This is a saber-toothed tiger. Abort, abort." You walk into that lunch a winner, vibrating with energy and possibility. You walk out of that lunch a survivor, filled with doubt, anxiety, and fear. His junk code just overwrote your winner's code, and it cost you your dream. That is the power of your environment. That is the danger of mirror neurons. So, what is the winner's code? It is not be a better debater. It is not try to convince Mark. You cannot fix another person's default code. The winner's code is not about fixing them, it's about protecting you. The winner's code is a two-part influence script. Part 1, build your firewall. Curate your people. Part 2, curate your inputs. Curate your media. Let's break these commands down. Part 1, build your firewall. Curate your people. A winner understands that social interactions are not neutral. They are transactions. You are either uploading your good code or you are downloading their junk code. You must become a ruthless, unforgiving architect of your inner circle. This is not about cutting people off. It's about intentional data management. Command 1, identify your sources. You must audit your inner circle, not based on who you've known the longest, but on how you feel after you interact with them. Radiators, winner's code, these are the people who radiate energy, possibility, and support. They run the growth mindset. When you share an idea, they mirror your excitement and then they add to it. They say, "That's amazing. How can I help?" Drains, junk code, these are the marks. They are dream killers. They are drains on your battery. They are cynical, fearful, and stuck. They mirror your excitement with fear. Command 2, reallocate your bandwidth. This is your new script. With your drains, like Mark, you still see Mark, but you build a firewall. You change the script. You do not share your dreams with drains. That is your mistake, not theirs. You are giving them the administrative password to your code. Stop doing that. With Mark, you talk about safe topics, sports, the weather, the past. Your new mantra is, "I do not share my future with people stuck in the past." With your radiators, you actively increase your bandwidth with them. You intentionally schedule more time with them. These are the people you share your beta test ideas with. This is your new tribe. Command 3. Build a new network. The mastermind. Winners actively seek out winners code. They build their own radiator network. It's called a mastermind group. It's a group of 3 to 5 people who are all running winners code, who all agree to hold each other accountable and share their code patches from Chapter 4. Your mirror neurons will download their habits, their discipline, and their resilience. This is the fastest way to upgrade your default code. Part 2. Curate your inputs. Curate your media. This is the other half of your environment, and it's the one you control 100%. Your mirror neurons cannot tell the difference between a real person and a digital person. The voice on the podcast you listen to, the books you read, the accounts you follow, your brain is downloading and mirroring their code, their attitudes, and their beliefs just as if they were in the room with you. If you are listening to junk code, gossip, cynical news, outrage media, you are voluntarily infecting your own operating system. You are paying to have malware installed. The winner's code is active curation. Command 1. The digital detox. Run the antivirus. You must go through your phone right now. Unfollow. Unfollow every single social media account that makes you feel less than, envious, or angry, ruthlessly. This is not censorship. This is network security. Turn off. Turn off all breaking news notifications. This is just an amygdala hijack delivery system. Delete. Delete the junk code apps, the ones you know are just cheap dopamine from Chapter 5, and outrage loops. The winner's code is active curation. Command 1. The digital detox. Run the antivirus. You must go through your phone right now. Unfollow. Unfollow every single social media account that makes you feel less than, envious, or angry, ruthlessly. This is not censorship. This is network security. Turn off. Turn off all breaking news notifications. This is just an amygdala hijack delivery system. Delete. Delete the junk code apps, the ones you know are just cheap dopamine from Chapter 5, and outrage loops. The winner's code is active reinstall. Command 2. The active reinstall. Seek winner's code. Your brain hates a vacuum from Chapter 3. You must replace the junk code with winner's code. Your digital inner circle. You must curate your feed to be the ultimate mastermind. Only follow radiators. Follow thinkers, builders, creators, and winners who are living the code you want to run. Your idle time is install time. That 30-minute commute? That 20 minutes on the treadmill? That is not idle time. That is prime installation time. Your new habit stack from Chapter 7 is, after I start my car, I will play an audiobook or podcast that installs winner's code. You are the architect. The survivor, running default code, is a victim of their environment. They passively download whatever junk code is floating around them. They complain about negative people, not realizing they are one of them. The winner, running winner's code, is a designer of their environment. They know their brain is an open network. They know their mirror neurons are always on. So they build a firewall to keep the junk code out. And they curate their inputs to constantly and automatically reinforce the winner's code. Your new code is this. My environment is not passive, it is programming, and I am the lead programmer. You have it. You have all of it, the full source code. You have the internal code. You have the environmental code. There is nothing left to learn. There is only one thing left to do. In our final chapter, we are going to stop installing and we are going to run the program. You have the code, you have the commands, the syntax, the protocols, and the cheat codes. You have the entire 10-chapter source code for the winner's mindset. You are inspired, you are motivated, you are ready. So let me ask you the only question that matters. Are you ready to execute? Because this is the great filter. This is the one moment where 99% of people fail. It's the knowing-doing gap. It's the graveyard of good intentions. It's the vast, empty chasm between inspiration and integration. We read the book, we listen to the audiobook, we get that jolt of motivation, that high of newfound potential. We feel in our bones like we are changed. And then Monday morning comes, and by Wednesday, the old code is back. By Friday, the inspiration is a foggy memory. And 2 weeks from now, you are the exact same person you were before you pressed play. Why? Why does this always happen? Is the code bad? Is the book a lie? Are you just broken? No. It happens because you are running into the single most powerful force in your entire biology. It's a force stronger than your negativity bias, stronger than your amygdala, stronger than your desire for dopamine. It's the force of homeostasis, and it is your brain's prime directive. Keep everything the same. Let's do this. One last piece of science. This is the final boss of your default code. Homeostasis is your body's and your brain's master regulation system. I want you to think of it as your entire being's thermostat. Your current life, your current habits, your current default code, that is your set point. Let's say your set point is 72 degrees. That 72-degree set point is your comfort zone. It's your default code in action. It's your current level of success, your current level of self-doubt, your current habit of procrastinating. Your brain loves this 72-degree set point. It doesn't love it because it's good for you. It loves it for one reason and one reason only. It is energy efficient. It knows this 72-degree program. It's familiar. It's automatic. It's safe. It's the neural superhighway from Chapter 2 that your whole life runs on. It takes 0 willpower from Chapter 7 to stay at 72 degrees. Now, this book, this winner's code, this is you walking up to that thermostat and aggressively trying to crank it up to 85 degrees. You are trying to change the set point. What do you think happens when you do that? Does the thermostat just say, "Oh, okay, 85 degrees it is, great"? No. The instant the system detects a change from its set point, it panics. It identifies this change as a threat, and it activates every system it has to force the temperature back down to the familiar 72 degrees. The entire system, your old habits, your old thought patterns, your body's laziness, kicks on. It is fighting you. It is not trying to hurt you. It is trying to save you. It's trying to conserve energy. It's trying to get you back to what's familiar and safe. This is why change is so hard. You are not just fighting a bad habit. You are fighting a system-wide biological force of inertia called homeostasis. Let's run the scenario, the final scenario. This is the bad day relapse. You've been crushing it for a week. You are the winner's mindset. You're running your habit stacks, Chapter 7. You're waking up, putting on shoes, go. You're running your focus algorithm, Chapter 6. You're in the zone. You're relabeling stress as excitement, Chapter 8. You feel amazing. You feel like you finally installed the new code. And then the bad day hits. You hit snooze one too many times. The first default code creep. You wake up late. You skip the run. It's just one day. You get in the car. You hit every red light. You get to work, and your biggest client sends an angry email. Boom! The amygdala hijack, Chapter 4, slams into you. The full fight or flight chemical flood. And in that one moment of weakness, when your PFC is offline, homeostasis makes its move. The old code, the default 72-degree code, comes roaring back. The antsire screaming, "See, I told you, this winner's code was fake. It was just a temporary high. It's not real. This is real. You're not a winner. You're the same old failure you've always been. You can't handle this. You can't change. Just give up. It's easier to just be 72 degrees. Just stop trying so hard. This is the moment. This is the battle. This is the thermostat trying to force you back down. This is where everyone quits. They believe that voice. They think the bad day is proof that the new code failed. They mistake the resistance of homeostasis for a verdict on their identity. But you are not everyone. You are a programmer, and you know what is happening. This is the winner's code. This is the final, most important line of code in this entire book. The winner's mindset is not a destination you arrive at. It is not an installation that is one and done. It is not a certificate you earn. The winner's mindset is an active, daily, moment-by-moment process. It is a choice you make. It is a program you must choose to run, especially when you don't feel like it. The default code, homeostasis, will never go away. That thermostat will always try to pull you back. Winning is not about silencing that default code forever. Winning is not about never having a bad day. Winning is not about being perfect. Winning is about being persistent. Winning is about hearing that default code roar back, feeling that thermostat try to pull you down, and running your new code anyway. The real win is not the good day when everything is easy. The real win is the bad day. The real win is when you are hijacked and tired and defeated, and you still choose to do the 1-minute box breath, Chapter 4. The real win is when you know you're a mess, and you still run the catch, challenge, change command, Chapter 3. The real win is when you don't want to, and you still say 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, move, Chapter 5. That is the real victory. That is when you are forging the neural highway. That is when you are proving to your basal ganglia, Chapter 7, that the new code is the new boss. That is when you are rewriting the thermostat itself. This book, this audiobook, it's not the code. It's just the manual. It's just the keyboard. You are the code. You are the programmer. So this is it. This is the end of the installation and the beginning of the execution. You are no longer a passenger in your own mind. You are no longer a victim of your default code. When you feel that negativity bias, Chapter 1, trying to magnify a failure, you know what it is. You see the saber-toothed tiger, and you know you are the observer. When you hear the talent lie, Chapter 2, whispering, "You can't," you know the truth of neuroplasticity. You know that struggle is the sound of construction. When you hear those ants, Chapter 3, programming your RAS for disaster, you have the catch, challenge, change command to debug your reality. When you feel the hijack of failure, Chapter 4, you have the biological reset. You know how to re-engage your PFC and turn poison into data. When you feel the procrastination loop, Chapter 5, pulling you to cheap dopamine, you have the 5-second rule and the 2-minute rule to hotwire your action. When you feel the fracture of distraction, Chapter 6, you have the focus algorithm to build your fortress and execute deep work. When you feel the drain of willpower, Chapter 7, you have the habit stack syntax to automate your success on the basal ganglia. When you feel the poison of stress, Chapter 8, you have the reappraisal script to recode anxiety into excitement and fuel your peak performance. When you feel the drag of your environment, Chapter 9, you have the firewall to protect your mirror neurons and curate your code. And when you feel that bad day relapse, when you feel homeostasis, Chapter 10, trying to pull you back to default, you know that this is the real test. You know that persistence, not perfection, is the final code. You are the programmer. You are the architect. You are in control. The default code will always be there. It is the survival program. But you have the source code for thriving. You have the code of the winner's mindset. Now, this audiobook is over. Your work is just beginning. The only question that's left, the only thing that matters, execute.